Hello, everyone. Today I am talking to Teresa Lawrence, amazing lady. She is an award winning author, international speaker, and leadership coach. She is a 1988 graduate of Amherst College and a 1991 graduate of Columbia Law School. She's the founder and president of the Trueness Project, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering children and adults to cherish their imagination and own their power, their own narratives. The nonprofit was inspired by Teresa's own journey as a Cuban refugee, and as part of her mission, Teresa is donating her award winning transformational children's book, Glorious, to disadvantaged children throughout the world. Teresa is also an author, or I should say co author, of The Power of Leadership with Teresa Lawrence, where she discusses the power of the leadership of play. That is the name of her coaching program, and her philosophy on leadership. It's about living life outside the box, finding joy in simple acts of kindness, and believing in the power of imagination. It is a philosophy that uplifts everyone. She is presently working on the Grand Butterfly Gathering, scheduled, this is important, for June 29th, 2024, where her nonprofit, the Trueness Project, will host the largest number of people dressed as butterflies in the history, both in personal and virtually. So hopefully you will join in on this. A world record will be set, and a joyous community of change makers will make a statement dressed as butterflies that they stand for a world with community, creativity, and love. Teresa has been featured in the San Francisco Post, the California Observer, and the World Reporter and Scholar Media Africa. So, hi, Teresa. This is so exciting.
Oh,
I
it's such an honor. Such an honor to
I
be
have
here.
a couple of questions I'd like to ask you that I'm so curious about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So it is so outside the box and so creative. So, what is the Trueness Project?
Well, the Trueness Project is a nonprofit, as my bio says, that was created out of my personal passion to give away my book, Gloriousness, all over the world. And as things happen, you think you're starting something for one reason, and then it evolves into other reasons. I started the nonprofit and I wanted to give out books. And as I thought about it, I said, what is the why behind the nonprofit? What is it all about? And when you go to the website, it says it's a nonprofit dedicated to inspiring truth, authenticity, and integrity in all aspects of life. And people go, well, what does that mean? And the honest truth is that I believe that when we live in personal authenticity and truth, when we're telling people our personal stories, and we do that in integrity because we're being honest with ourselves as to what we want, and we share those stories, we are empowering ourselves and we are empowering others. So the Trueness Project is on a mission to help people empower themselves to tell their truth and their personal narratives, because we all learn from other people. We all learn from stories, and there is something uniquely powerful about telling a story in your mind and telling a story to the world, because what you're running in your mind, that's what you're projecting out into the world. And my goal is to help as many children as possible figure out that they are powerful beings and that they own the power to tell the story of their lives. They don't have to be victims. They don't have to be, um, you know, bound by family stories. They can create their own and they can be glorious. So that's the Trueness Project.
That is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I wanted to back up a moment. um, in your bio, you mentioned being from Cuba, and your story as a Cuban refugee resonates with so many people. Would you share with the audience how it's inspired the publishing? Because you're handing you're distributing these books, but I'm wondering, how did it inspire the publishing of your first children's book, Gloriousness?
Well, the immigrant story is powerful in general for everybody, and right now in the world, it is especially powerful. Um, I'm a Cuban refugee. I left Cuba in 1971, and I was 3 years old. During when I was born, my father was in prison, and he was imprisoned because, as a professor of medicine at the University of Havana, there was a meeting and the Communist National Anthem was played, and my father didn't stand up. And so a community of people that he had grown up with, studied medicine with, and taught with, all turned around, pointed at him, and said, "You don't belong here. You're an enemy of the state." Within a week, all of our possessions were taken. He was thrown in prison. My mom lost her job, and we were basically homeless. We had to go live with family, and we had to petition. My father petitioned to get out of the country. And the reason I want to share this story, because it did inspire the book, is that my father had a choice point. He just had everything taken. That is happening all over the world right now. So if there are people listening to this that know children and families that are just sitting there crying because they have nothing, it happens to immigrants all the time. And you have a choice. It's a powerful choice point. Are you going to be a victim, or are you going to decide to make something out of your life? My father chose to make a better life. And the point of that is, and this is what I teach when I go speak in other countries, is that everything can be taken from you except the power of your mind and your education. And the Trueness Project is about teaching children to harness that power of the mind and the power of story. I am not a victim. I have been gloriously blessed by every aspect of my life, even the most difficult. And what happened when we left Cuba, we went to Spain, and my father got his medical license in Spain and got us green cards so that when we arrived in the United States, he could already start working as a doctor. But there are 6 of us. I am the youngest of 4 children, and no one could take a family of 6, so we all scattered. So here I am, almost 4 years old, and I am living with strangers. And before I left Cuba, my grandmother, who wasn't educated, education is really not the key, it's mindset that's the key. My grandmother was not formally educated, but she was a brilliant storyteller, and she knew the power of story. And before I left Cuba, she handed me a doll, and she said, "I don't know what's going to happen, and neither do you, but you have the power to create stories, and you're going to share everything that happens to you with this doll, and you're going to make those stories end gloriously. Like whatever the outcome is, it's glorious. It doesn't matter what happens, it's glorious." And when I went to live with family that I didn't know in the United States, I had that doll, and I cried to that doll, and I told stories to that doll, and things that happened I told to that doll. And after a while, I didn't need the doll. I had learned the power of story. And when COVID hit, and I saw all the people on the border trying to get into this country, and then like a gazillion natural disasters happened, I was just like, I got to share this. This thing changed my life. And then the war in the Ukraine happened. And then now we have so many children that are displaced that feel like they're abandoned and they are powerless. And it is really scary to be a child in that position. And if they don't have parents telling them that they have the power to choose or having that example, they have to create that for themselves. And they learn that through reading and having other people, I guess, personify that gift. And when I wrote Gloriousness, ooh, there it is. When I wrote Gloriousness, it tells the story of a child that's not happy, and she goes to her mother and says, "I don't understand this." And the mother says, "You need to figure this out. This is about you." no one is going to tell you how to make you happy. You need to figure out who you are. And the name of the character is Ness, and she goes into a room and she draws out all these different characters. So she's limitlessness, kindness, cuteness, sleepiness. And at the end, she figures out who she is, and she calls her mother to her room, and she decides that she is gloriousness. And she has made that choice. She gets to decide who she wants to be each and every day. And I pray and I hope and I want you enroll you all into helping me to teach children that they have power and that they can choose to be successful. They just have to make that choice. That is my story of how this happened. I wanted to give it away. I wanted to empower children. And then the nonprofit happened, and the rest, as they say, is history.
So inspiring. Oh my gosh, so inspiring. So, Teresa, amazing story. Love it. You mentioned um, wanting this to be worldwide, and I know we've talked briefly about Kenya as one of your target, your focus countries, at least for now. Why Kenya?
Oh,
And
so I get asked this all the time. So I start my nonprofit and I have the vision for the Trueness Project, and we're going to give books out all over the world, and it's fantastic. Um, Up until now, I was not a public person. Speaking in public was extremely challenging. It still is. I still shake. but but I have a mission. I want to help people, and I can't help people if nobody knows who I am. And so when I wanted to give away the books and I wanted to share my story, I said, what one thing is limiting me from moving forward? And you learn that through leadership. You make a list of all the things you're scared of, you make a list of all the things that you want, and you find the common thread. And my common thread is that I didn't want people to see me, because then they would know I'm an immigrant. They would know I don't really belong. They would know all of these things about which they know anyway. But in my mind, that story was running, and I had to stop the story because I needed to get on stage. I need to help people, and I can't help people if people don't know what I'm doing. And so there was a Kenya speakers tour taking place where authors got to share their books and their leadership philosophy. And I had written The Power of Leadership with M. Teresa Lawrence, which talks about my leadership style, which is really about being playful and being kind and being grateful and playing into the fear as opposed to just jumping in. But of course, I jumped in.
yes,
I said, I need this skill. So I signed up to be on the 2023 Kenya Keynote Speakers Tour with Top Talent JV. And I arrived on September 9th at 8 a.m. I remember because I was a little delirious. And by 11 a.m., we were speaking in front of students and sharing our stories. And my first talk was in front of 500 people. I was shaking like a leaf. And then every day we spoke to 2 or 3 schools nonstop for a week. And by the time we were done, I had spoken in front of 12,600 people. And the fear of public speaking, while not gone, it's not gone, I still shake from time to time, was greatly improved. Oh, but
practice, practice.
while I was there, I fell in love with the country and the people. And so I said, I'm going worldwide. Why don't I start with these beautiful people? Because they are such loving people, and they don't need a hand out. They need a hand up. This is not about giving away money. Money doesn't solve problems. Leaders and mindset and the ability to follow through and being in integrity with yourself solves problems. And I fell in love with Kenya, and I gave away tons of books. I gave away so many books, and it was very personally satisfying. But when I went around, I said, okay, what do they need? And there are basic needs that make life easier. And today the internet makes life easier. Having a computer makes life easier. Having energy that is consistent makes life easier. And I know these things because I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Daniel, Wyoming. The population is 109. We get our internet through Starlink. That's the only way I can communicate with the world. And we have a generator because our power goes out all the time. When I went to Kenya, it felt like being here. I mean, it really did. I was so at home. I loved the people. And I have systematically fixed all the problems I have here. And I was like, I've got this. I know what these people, how to help these people. And so I set up the Kenya initiative because I went there first. It was something that just naturally flowed from an intention to do goodness. And then that experience stepped them up to the front of the line.
That's
So
beautiful. I mean, I keep saying that's beautiful, but it is. Your story is beautiful. Your mission, your vision is so beautiful. I mean, it just
you.
really is inspiring. Um, well, so there's something that's coming up, the Grand Butterfly Gathering. And what is the significance of the butterfly for you and the world?
All right, I've been thinking about my why about that. And first, I want to say that when I came up with this idea, I imagined what it was like to be a child that was fearful and scared, and then become an empowered child with the ability to tell a story that was beautiful and glorious. And for me, that was transformation. And life is about change, going through experiences, which, so many people say, I wish life would be easier. Life only gives you what you are prepared to handle. You just have to step up and say, how is this a gift? How am I going to learn from it? What is it showing me? And change is the only constant. And the butterfly is this magical symbol of transformation. It starts off as a caterpillar and it struggles, it has to eat and find sustenance, and it doesn't know when that truly amazing experience is going to happen that's going to change them. But, it can hang on all it wants to being a caterpillar, but time strikes and the transformation happens. A cocoon is formed, the butterfly, the caterpillar, literally dissolves in that cocoon. And the DNA tells it what it's supposed to be. And it emerges as a beautiful butterfly. And this is the best part. It can't see its wings, so it has no ego when it emerges. And it is so deeply beautiful, beautiful. And we all see it. The world around it sees it, but it doesn't see itself as its true beauty emerges. And that's so true of all of us. For those of you who are listening, you're all beautiful. You don't see it, but transformation will get you there. And the Grand Butterfly Gathering is a celebration of that transformation. For me, for you, for the world. I believe that children emulate what they see, and I want them to see their parents celebrating change, celebrating the ability to transform, to say, yes, whatever happened, happened. I learned from it, and I choose a better life. I choose a better path. So the Grand Butterfly Gathering is the world coming together in community, which I love, obviously, because we have to build community as we go. And it's when you are stripped of everything that you own and you are moved to a new community, there's something inside of you that's calling for community. And for me, I'm calling for a worldwide community of people who want to leave a legacy of goodness for their children. And the Grand Butterfly Gathering is a time for us to make a statement to the world that we stand for a transformed world filled with community, creativity, and love. And it is a worldwide event happening. It happens physically in Jackson, Wyoming. So yes, if you're in the United States and you want to have fun and you want to build community, join me in Jackson. Dress like a butterfly. I've got my little thingies here. I have so much butterfly gear ready to go. This is my grand hat. I actually made this. Woo! I think it's this way. You all get the idea. Please join me in Jackson on June 29th, 2024 at noon. We meet in the town square dressed as butterflies. 400 people will make history. We will get a world record, and it will be fantastic, and we'll celebrate worldwide. If you are anywhere else in the world, please pick a nonprofit that you would like to raise funds for and do your own butterfly gathering and send me your pictures. Be part of the Flutterverse. Raise the vibration of the planet with me. It is a great way to share love and a communal activity, and that is playfulness and it is friendship. When you share something like this with other people, you build friendships and you change the world.
Remarkable. It's incredible. So I have a question about how people participate. Is there a website they go to? Do they register with you? How do they become part of the bigger community with you?
Our website is butterflymarch.com. So butterfly and then march, like you're marching, butterflymarch.com. You can sign up there to be an in-person participant, a virtual participant, a volunteer, a sponsor. I need volunteers and I need sponsors all over the world, and I need butterfly captains. I mean, it will even give you a certificate. I am a butterfly captain. And then we're going to have butterfly captain Zooms where you can introduce yourself to a worldwide community. And for the captains, I just want them to have a party with people that believe as I do, that we can transform the world one butterfly at a time.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, well, is there some other information everyone watching this should know? Any special offers or something for the listeners?
Oh, we have so many things going on as part of this. I don't know when this is going to air, but but on February 19th to the 25th, we're going to be in Costa Rica for the Butterfly Sanctuary Retreat. That is really fun if you're in Costa Rica or anywhere and you're a promoter, because right now it is February 3rd. So if you see this, you're going to have to jump in. And for that one, please email me at yourtrueness@gmail.com. And I can get you a discount code and you can jump in. So we're doing that. And then the other thing that we're doing, which is amazing because the nonprofit is about the power of story, is we are putting together a transformational book, the first Trueness Project book, The Grand Butterfly Gathering, Wings for a Transformed World. And if you want to be in that book, you get a chapter and your picture in the book. And if you send in a 5-minute video, it has to happen fast because we're doing a TV documentary on March 16th, 2 days after National Butterfly Day. Yes, indeed. You can be in the TV special and you will be in the book that will be published and come out the beginning of June, right before the Grand Butterfly Gathering. And you will be recognized as a transformational leader all over the world. And it will just be so powerful and fun to share our stories with the world. Oh, and for that one, you have to email me at yourtrueness@gmail.com. Thank you.
People know how to get a hold of you, how to find you. So I was also curious about the retreat that's February 19th.
Yes.
What would someone expect to experience there? What's the focus? What would be the why?
We are going to mastermind. I believe that when people join this retreat, they not only they're not going, to just experience the butterfly sanctuary. They're going to experience something bigger than themselves. There is something true that when 2 or more people get together, you form something bigger than you are. And I'm creating a mastermind of change makers, a mastermind of people that believe as I do. Together, we can change the world. And in Costa Rica, it is a beautiful experience. I have speakers each night that share their specialty. And we're going to go to the butterfly sanctuary. And yes, I'm going to make everybody dress up as butterflies. Make is not the word. They have the choice. But I've got great costumes and great fun things for us to do. We're going to go kayaking, we're going to go horseback riding, we're going to build community, and those people are definitely in the transformational book and in the TV documentary. That's a given. We're going to videotape everything, and all of those people are going to have a chance, an opportunity to use all of that footage in their own media. So it is a fabulous opportunity. And so if I know it's short notice, but if you want to jump in, this is an incredible value, and I'm just so looking forward to it. Thank you.
Got it, everyone. Sounds like a wonderful retreat, a wonderful time to create community. So, Teresa, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
I just want to share with you all that I believe that you are all destined for greatness. I always say that. The world right now is in a choice point. When you watch the news, there is sadness and war, and we have an opportunity to give the world an option. Just, and on June 29th, 2024, I'm asking the world to choose love, and for all of us to put on our costumes, flap our wings, and uplift the vibration of the planet. That's the last word I have for everybody. I love you all. I hope to be working with you all. And I'm deeply grateful, Sarah, for this opportunity to share my story and my projects.
So inspiring. It's been a pleasure being here today with you, Teresa, and I am looking forward to celebrating so much goodness and success with all the people who join you on this project. The Trueness Project, the Grand Butterfly Gathering. It's a wonderful message you're sending out, and thank you for doing that. You're a real leader and inspiration in our world. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.